Welcome to Black on Purpose, where Black is a purpose. Have a seat at the table. Today we have another episode, and I've been truly blessed again. I got another family member here with me, my sister, a true day one. I'm gonna let her introduce herself, but me and her to get been together since before I was could remember anything. So I'm gonna introduce my sister Teresa. Let her introduce herself.
Yo, 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 what's happening? My name is Latrice. You know what I'm saying? Most people call me Tracy or Treese. Darnell is my big brother. Yes, I've known him all my life. All right, he been there since I came out. So shout out to my big brother and his team, all that they're doing right now. It is an amazing, amazing thing to, just get like-minded people together to begin to have these type of discussions. So I just want to say kudos to you, brother. Tribute. I love what you and your team are doing.
Appreciate that. I appreciate that. Now, I love being able to do it with my family and friends, and I think that what we bring to the table is just life experience. And the topic that we're going to start with today, a great one, is about raising families. The impact that parents have on you and all types of things like that. Because everybody handles it differently, and you can be isolated, feel alone. But I'm gonna let you start out with how you want to talk about that first topic.
Yeah. So at this point in time, we all are adults. Shout out to God and blessings to all of us that made it this far. And with that being said, that means you once were a child, right? And you had to navigate that life, right? You had to go through your toddler stages, your adolescence, your teenage stages, that's high school, middle school, preschool. You lived that, right? And if you're anything like me, you get to this point in your life where I think if you went on any type of healing journey, right, you realize that who you are was first identified when you were a child. That's why you hear all these therapists and a lot of people say, "Hey, go back to your inner child, heal your inner child." A lot of things like that. And for me at first, I was like so confused, like, man, what is they talking about? Heal my inner child, right? And when I started digging deeper, I realized what they were saying is, hey, you were established a long time ago, right? You were who you are, who you were supposed to be when you initially hit this earth, right? And when was that? It was when you was the most innocent, right? Before you were influenced and peer pressured and manipulated and molded, right? Before that, who were you, right? And what things have in your past, right, in your childhood that helped move you away from your core you, right? What were those things that, removed your identity? And the first thing that immediately came to my mind was, our parents. They were our first contact of, support and comfort. We totally relied on them. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So, you know, I feel like our parents particularly, like it's so funny. We can all have conversations. You can have a conversation with somebody you never met at a restaurant, at a grocery store, anywhere on Facebook. We see it all the time. Where we call out something that our parents would have said and we can all finish the sentence, right? All of us there. You can see some letters on a board and you can know what that entire sentence says. Wow.
And that's so crazy because I feel like I hate to interrupt you, and I hate to do that.
No, go
Right.
ahead. No.
No, but you see, I feel like that even translates apart a lot of the black community. You can see that online, and they'll just put the letters, and
Mhm.
every black person know what those letters mean. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? Whether it's something as simple as riding past McDonald's and I ain't got McDonald's money, something as
Yeah.
simple as that. Something as simple as that.
Mhm.
We
Mhm.
all know it. We all know it.
And what does that tell you? What that tells you is our black mamas was all saying the same thing, i.e., all raising us the same way, same principles.
Let me ask you this question. This is something that's
Yeah,
been on my heart to ask you. Do you think that's because of trauma that keeps getting passed down?
absolutely.
Yeah. And if it is, how do us as parents now not pass it back down again?
Okay. Yeah, no, that's a great question. Number one, let me start off by saying I ain't saying they did nothing wrong. Okay. Right. Our parents did absolutely. Yeah. They did the best they can with what they had, right? I'll say we were brought up to be disciplined, right?
Mm.
To be protected, right? We were brought up to survive. Our parents brought us in this world and showed us how to survive in it, not necessarily raise us. You know what I'm saying? How not to go to jail, how to get through school, how to attempt to navigate through this earth, right? Those were the core. That was the structure. How not to get killed, how not to end up in the streets, how not to end up on drugs, right? That was the basis to how parenting went in the black community, right? Instead of go ahead, no, go ahead.
No, I can speak that to the effect because I've had conversations, with some of the mothers from my generation, even my mom, and heard things like, "Well, ain't nobody strung out, ain't nobody dead, ain't nobody in jail." Like, what I'm saying, like the baseline from what they consider being okay was survival. It wasn't thriving. It was not thriving. It was surviving and how to navigate this world without getting in trouble. Like everything you're saying, like, yeah,
You gotta think about it. Think about how old you were when you had to get taught how to respond or react to the police, right? That was all in fear. This goes all the way back to however far we can remember or even want to discuss. But back in Jim Crow days and everything, you got in trouble because your parent didn't want to see you hung on a tree for being, what I'm saying, for being yourself, for not sitting on the line. So that thing it just kept coming on down, and passed on to generation and the next one and the next one. Not really understanding why they doing it, just understanding that that's what happened to them. So this is what I'm gonna do to mine. Right. And then you ask, how can we go better? Man, identify and recognize, right? After that, everybody got their own path as to how they can execute the change or how they feel they can implement the change. But I feel like the first thing is to do is shout out to your platform, talk about it, get those conversations out in the open, right? And make sure that we understand that it's okay to not feel okay if these things occur to you. Right? It's not normal. It was our normal for our life, but it's not normal. You know what I'm saying?
100%, 100%. I agree with that. And just speaking on it from my perspective, my mom was the same way, survival. Always worried about what other people in the outside influence that can impact us. This because we don't want them to think that about us, or we want to be here, or we want to look this way, or we want to avoid all unnecessary conflicts if possible, which you can't.
Right.
And I think that for me, it ran into a place of because of the type of parents I had or we had, where they were
Mhm.
really open to talk to us. I feel like the conversations I had with my parents as an adult were the conversations I needed to have as a kid. And
Mhm.
at that time, they weren't willing to have them with me. And I feel like that. I can tell you one story that doesn't mean anything to anybody that my mom told me, but when she told me as an adult, it gave me like guidance on, oh, this is why you were like that back then when I was going through it, and you completely didn't understand. And
Mhm.
you know, I could imagine life was different from you in East Cleveland from what it was for me in the Heights. I mean, we ain't too far apart.
Mhm.
We in the imaginary line apart of the hill.
People know the
It's
heights
two
and we
different
see.
neighborhoods, though. I will,
All right.
yeah.
100%. So look, check it. This goes back though. So this is why it goes back to our parents raising us the same because they raised us to survive, right? Instead of raising us to thrive, right? They didn't really take the time to bring out our gifts and allow our personalities to shine and stuff like that. Right? Why? Because they was on the grind. So they didn't have time to let each one of us be an individual. Everybody had to do the same thing the same way. Now, yes, you got some individuality throughout, growing up in childhood, but all dinner was at the same time. But what if my stomach it gets tight a little later and I need to eat way earlier? Well, guess what? You gonna wait to dinner time, right?
At the table till you force it down, or sit at the table till you force it down.
You want to bring that up?
Like,
I
hey,
see you
no,
want to
no,
bring this
that ain't
up.
just me. That
Okay,
ain't just our house. Like,
okay. Oh man, that was weird. Sound
I
like to
want
me, my
you
brother.
give them real life experience.
Yeah, it sounds like to me my brothers wanted me to admit that I oftentimes was the only one left at the dinner table because I didn't eat a lot of, I don't know. I didn't eat a lot. I didn't eat a lot, and you had to clean your plate. That was another thing. Like if I'm full, why can't I just be full? Like I'm literally full. Like if I'm hungry, I'm gonna eat, right? But no. Sat at the table, desserts getting served all around me. I still got the dinner plate sitting in front of me. They eating ice cream, cake, brownies, all different type of stuff, and I had to sit there till when.
And until that first plate was scraped clean. I mean, so but that's
Clean.
trauma passed down though, because it's like I would say this. Let me ask you a question: Would you ever be like that with your kids now, or any kid? Like,
Absolutely not. Not at all. Not at all. I am heavy on letting the child be who they are. Heavy on it. I love, all my nieces and nephews and their personalities and how much they shine, right? And how much they don't have fear. As a child, I was scared of everybody, of everything. I was scared to think. I was scared to want. I was scared because you didn't know, and to see, my nieces and nephews and how free and open they are, you know. Shout out to my siblings.
I'll jump in there, and I think that's one thing about me that, as a parent, that I always wanted to be different about, because I feel like back in our day, we probably all had parents that at one point in time said, "Hey, if you ever found yourself in problems, or if you ever did this, come talk to me." But then we
Hmm.
also had parents that was like, you told your parents the truth and they would go through the roof and you'd be like, I was stupid for doing that.
Never doing it again, you hear me?
I was stupid for doing that. And and for me, the two things I would always say, and for people who know me, they know I'm not lying. I love my black and milds,
Hmm.
but for me, this is how I think as a parent. If there ever came a day to where Titan or Jordan ever got caught with a pack of black and milds or did that, that's my day to change, not to blow up on them, because I can't get truly mad at them for things that I taught them. That's how I look at it in my mind. I can't truly get mad at you for something that you learned from me. And that's something that I had to deal with, because
1,000.
as a child, that confuses you because you truly
Mhm.
don't understand why you're being disciplined. And then, even if you start to think you understand, the discipline takes place wrong. Because for me, what happened was I wasn't learning that what I was doing was wrong. I was learning I wasn't old enough to do it. Hence how hence how when we teenagers, we saying stupid stuff like, "I can't wait to get grown." And then you
Right.
get grown and you're like, "What was I thinking? What was I
All
thinking?
right.
Get me back up in there."
Right. No, facts, facts, facts. That no. First of all, let me just say I remember that whole time. That was a tough time for you, sir. But I feel like one thing about our parents' generation, I think they kind of lack the inability to take accountability for their actions, right?
Oh, I
Like
can't.
you could tell them, man, you could tell them, yo, you stepped on my toe. But when you stepped on my toe, it broke and it ain't never healed right, right? And it ain't their fault, right? We had something to do with the injury that we occurred. I mean, what I'm saying, the injury that we got. So I feel like at first it was like just have a lot of conversations, right? Remember, I used to even tell you that, like, yo, Mel, you just gotta keep talking. I ain't saying every conversation gonna feel better. I ain't saying you ain't gonna get off that phone madder than when you got on the phone. But I'm saying keep calling. I'm saying don't stop calling, right? The understanding needs to, you still got to get to that understanding no matter, and you don't stop trying until you get it. I don't know how long it would take, right? I don't know. I don't know. And especially the funny is having the same parent and I'm like, I had the conversation. You're like, well, you feel better? I'm like, yeah. You like,
I'm not even. I ain't there yet. Me and my dad already squashed everything. I'm not. I can't bring that one here. I ain't talked to
no,
him,
no,
so
I
I can
wouldn't
have
even
that
I
one.
wouldn't even touch that. I wouldn't touch it. I'm just saying
But
how we go about maneuvering through, our parents, and how we, you know, separate no matter what. Just the point is, no matter what, whoever may be having a difficult time communicating and agreeing or what. You don't have to agree. You just have to continue to communicate,
Yes.
right? That's the mature thing to do.
And I think that I learned that because even what you said there compared to the way I handle things, I look at that the way I handle my kids. I was unable to let things go. And I've always been that way. Right. And then when I'm having conversations, other people are like, man, you need to let it go, do this and the third. I just look at it as like as I move forward, understanding that you have to govern your children different or you have to interact with other people different. Like we were all under one, like you went to, like you said on your first, when you first started, we were all on the one banner. Everybody get up this time, you get dressed. We all our family was too much military. You know, this time you do here, you go here, you go there. And anybody who's out of line, you're the bad guy. You know, and at times that's tough to deal with, especially when I'll just say it from my side, your parents ain't 100% capable of living up to their end of the banner at all times. You to be A1, but you're not A1. I'm watching you not be A1, and now you mad at me for not being A1. And then there's this.
No, you know what it taught us though? It taught us grace, right? It taught us grace. It taught us to give. Well, I'll tell you what, it taught me for sure to give grace and space, right? When I look back at those things and you not really realize, for me, it was like when I turned 30. Man, yeah, like when I turned 30 and I'm like, oh damn, 30. I'm 30 years old.
Mm,
I'm not adult yet now. Oh crap. All of it's me, right? I'm supposed to be here, do this and da 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 all the way down the line. And that also made me kick into gear like, hey, you have to mature too, right? You have to, I can't go, how much longer am I going to go blaming, right? And I want everybody to understand this isn't a blaming situation. This is an identifying situation, right? Can you identify what's in front of you? Can you analyze it? And then can you come up with a plan to solve whatever the equation is? Right. And that's how I feel I move on a regular basis. Understanding what's in front of me, analyze it, what type of equation this is, and then solve it.
okay, I got one. First of all, I agree with everything you said, but I actually want to ask you a question about something you said. Right. This is what I had to take for myself. Right. At the point in time when I can analyze it to the point where I can say, well, I'm this way because of this, this, and this. If I know I'm this way because of this and then this, then I'm actually not that way. I'm actually choosing it and I'm using this as an excuse because I know what made me this way. I'm actually processing in my mind that what I'm doing is wrong. I know what I'm doing is wrong. I'm just blaming somebody outside of me for my wrongdoings. So I'm going to ask you about that because that speaks to me directly. At the point in time, at what point in time can't do I have to stop? Like once I understand, well, I picked up these behaviors from this spot. I picked up these behaviors from here. I know where I got them from. I know how they affected me. I know that they are harmful here. I understand what I'm doing. Now I have to accept self responsibility. And what would you say to like me making that statement?
I would say at the point you are aware, you are responsible, right? So you going into, so I even feel like this about emotions, right? I feel like when we start talking about emotions and we know energy, motion, vibrations, it's a choice to hold on to those emotions, right? You want me to tell you why? Because it's trained and learned behavior. You have trained yourself or given yourself approval to feel or be a certain way based off of a situation or a circumstance. You trained yourself. Hey, we train ourselves. Hey, somebody's dying, I get to cry. I get to act out. I get to, oh, somebody's being born. I get to drink. Oh, it's somebody's birthday. I get to celebrate. I get to do all this. I get to all these different things. We give ourselves these ropes, right? And attached to these ropes are emotions, consequences, different wins and losses, right? And it's just about how much rope you give yourself. You are 1000% in control. Everything that happens to you come from outside, inside of you, right? So all these things you feeling, all these things you thinking, all this negativity, right? You ain't hurting nobody but yourself. So I say, at the point that you are aware that what you are doing is harmful, that's the point you're supposed to do something about it.
I had nothing else to say. I have nothing to say. That was dope. That was dope.
Yeah.
It was dope. That was dope. So
Sure. Yeah.
I ain't gonna hold you too long, but
Yeah.
we always got to do this. So, do you want to do a rapid fire or do you want to do a two truths and a lie?
Rapid fire.
All right, so we do a rapid fire. That means we're gonna just ask each other what you want to do, like 5 or 10.
5.
5 statements. I'm gonna roll out 5 statements, and then uh, whichever one of us is gonna answer in quick questioning. All right. Now, I mean, right now, you want me to go first or you?
You.
Cleveland sports.
Brown. Football.
Okay. Family.
But I'm supposed to wait. Am I saying that right?
Yeah, I said, oh, all right. I'll go deeper. I'll start the first one. Cleveland Brown.
No, wait. Tell me what I'm supposed to be saying to make sure I'm doing this right.
So if I say like I'm gonna say a topic, and you give me like a quick what you think about that topic,
All
or how
right,
that
bet.
topic relates to you.
Bet.
All right.
Bet.
I'll go
All
like
right, let's go.
so. I'm gonna start again. Cleveland
All right.
sports.
Browns.
Browns always. We is Brown City. Family.
Siblings.
Okay. Things I don't know about you. Favorite color. Okay. If somebody was gonna prepare a meal for you that was gonna knock your socks off, but they were gonna cook it themselves, what would they cook?
Anything seafood.
I said they cooking it themselves.
Seafood.
Okay. Okay. If you could plan the perfect day for you and your family, where would that day be located? Where would you go?
Man, cabins.
Cabins, outdoor. That's what's up.
Yep. Cabins.
That's what's up.
All
All right.
right.
Okay.
You ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Chicken or fish?
Fried chicken. Well, it's
And
chicken. I gotta go. Like you know what I mean. It depends on what chicken and what fish. You know what I mean.
yeah, that's true. That's true.
If you force me, chicken because there's too many things I can do with it. If
Okay.
somebody go
True.
bad with the fish, I can't touch it. I could save some bad chicken.
Okay. This is true. Okay. You bringing back one name brand from the 90s. Who coming?
British Knights. British Knights. My BKs is coming back, baby. It was better than the George.
Okay. What else I got? Oh, all right. Jay's. I know. I knew this. Okay. Are you going to watch the Cavs play the Lakers or the Indians play the Yankees?
Regular season?
Oh, we gonna say this is playoff season for both.
It's gotta be Cavs Lakers. I would say Cavs Lakers.
It's gotta be Cavs.
Okay.
I don't know though. I don't
All
know.
right.
I don't know.
Here's the thing. I think the Indians have a better shot of beating the Yankees.
Yeah,
Like
but the Cavs game gonna be more hype, just about. You know.
Cavs Lakers.
Okay.
You get the building, you know what it's gonna look like. So yeah.
Yeah. A place you've never been that you want to go.
Easter Island.
Yeah.
Easter Island.
Yeah, yeah. That's one of them ones.
Let me go see it for myself.
Yeah,
Let me go touch it. Yeah, let
for
me go
sure,
see it for myself.
for sure.
Man, sis,
All right,
thank
bro.
you. I ain't gonna say you. Hey, wait. Before we go, hold up. I gotta get one real quick. So, wait, 1 sec. Huh? Yeah, I got to. Hold up. So get your pose ready. Because I'm gonna post it tonight to let them know we got one coming.
I'm so silly. All right, this is my first thumbnail.
Yeah, we going to YouTube too and everything. Yeah. All right, yeah, are you ready?
All right, come on. Yep.
All right, check my page. I'm gonna check my page because when you get off here,
Love
appreciate
you.
you. Another episode. Love you too, sis. Look for it back on purpose. We're gonna be on the
Already.
website and everywhere around. So